G'day guys, and welcome back to some of our basic operations that we can use to get started in Autodesk Revit. We've looked at walls and we've looked a little bit at floors, so what we're going to do now is have a look at a couple of different kinds of roofs that we can put in our building. Now again guys, very basic stuff that we're using here at the moment. Obviously for your assignments and your future work, you really want to be exploring all avenues to make your house or your designs unique and different. Okay, so for our roof here, we can go ahead and go roof by footprint. If we have a look at some of our settings up here, I've got an overhang of 600 and I've got the define slopes tick. So in other words, when I come here, you can see that there's an overhang, so our roof overhangs our building, obviously for drainage and for runoff, and in modern day design your roofs hang over where that little soffit lining comes in, and I'll show you what I mean here. So if I select the line tool and click both external walls or both side walls, you'll see that this little triangle comes up and we have a designated slope of 30 degrees, defined slope. If I turn that defined slope off and select the other four walls, I'm in effect made a closed loop there. You need to make sure that that drawing is a closed loop sketch. Accept that, and then we can come up and have a look at exactly what I've done. So I've just got a little pitched roof, a little simple pitched roof on with a 30 degree slope and a 30 degree slope. I'll show you how to extend these walls up a little bit later on, or if indeed you want to put some other kind of fitting in there. So if I highlight that particular roof and then get rid of it, I can come back down here to my level 2 site and I can do a hip roof. So by footprint, again selecting our pick walls tool, and if I select all four, actually I'll go back and make sure I've got defined slopes on. If I select all four of those walls, you'll find that I have created a hip roof. I'll accept that sketch and I'll go down and have a bit of a look at my house, and you can see there that we have the hips and then the ridge board running along. Again, very simple. Now if I wanted to create a hip and valley roof, I mean you'd need an L-shaped house for that. So similar to this sort of configuration here with the valley and then the hips. Alrighty, so another form of roof that I can also create, again I can just delete that, is going to my level 2 floor plan, a skillion roof. Alrighty, so go with footprint, we're going to define slope, overhang, and I'm just going to select one side and then we're going to get rid of the define slope. Again, click around all of my boundaries, I'm going to accept the sketch, and then you'll notice that the roof only seems to go halfway, and you'll see why when we have a look at our 3D sketch. So in our 3D sketch, the roof has exceeded our expectations a little bit by the angle that we've put onto our roof. So if I go back, I can delete that, go back again to my level 2 floor plan, select our roof by footprint. I'm going to define the slope on one of our walls. Okay, take that off, and then I'm going to go around and select our other walls. And then from there, we should be able to come over and find the slope of our roof. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that down to 12 degrees, click apply. Okay, and then if we go up to our 3D view, we can see that that roof has covered the entire structure with the slope is a lot less. So in order for us to join those up, we have to come into the floor plan view. And what we want to do is we can do it wall by wall. If you highlight a wall, attach the top to base, and then select the roof, and if we go into the 3D view, you can see that that wall has extended up. And then again, if you simply go through the rest of those steps using that function, it'll attach all of those walls up. And you can do that with any kind of roof, attaching a wall. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at some other functions that we can perform. Now, first of all, if we come into the ground level, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting in some walls. Now, I did the exterior wall in a double brick wall, and as we move down here, you can see that there are many walls available to us. Stud timber, steel, generic walls, brick veneer walls, brick on the outside, timber and gyprock on the inside, etc. So for the internal walls, all I'm going to do is just use... But before I do that, guys, I'm just going to go in and just have a look at a way that we can see inside. So from here, I'm just going to select this wall, and I'm going to go down to the set of goggles here, temporary hide. So I'm just going to hide that element, and suddenly I can look inside and I can see that we have our floor, our ground floor, and then our first floor, and then this is our roof level or ceiling level around here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that, and I'm also going to hide that. And now in our 3D view, we can really have a good look in and see how our floor's going. So I'm going to go back to our ground floor plan, and I'm going to come up here, as I was doing, guys, select our basic brick wall. Now, if you choose to draw from the corner and draw over the top, what you're doing is putting a wall on a wall, and you'll get this error message, which if I do along here, and there it is, highlighted walls overlap, etc. So I want to make sure that when I'm drawing my wall, I can start at that corner and bring it out a certain distance, but then I need to click and draw from that point. Also, before we draw our walls, we need to have a look up here, and we're either going depth or height. So for me, oh, that's good, I can go height, and I can go from the ground floor up to level 1, and if I draw a wall here, and then there's my wall, then have a look in our 3D view, and we can see that it's drawn from the ground floor, which we're on, up to the height of level 1. Now, it's also important to start looking at a few other little things, like this wall location here. Center wall line, I did talk about that briefly. Finish face exterior, finish face interior, core face, core face. So, depending on which one, there's some of the settings that you're going to have to look at. Sometimes if you have this set to depth, it can create all sorts of problems, and also this base offset setting here can sometimes be set to something. So if you find that your walls are drawing from the top down, you might have to change that base offset. And you can see here that the base constraint is the ground floor, so it's drawing from the ground floor up. So if I want to go back to my floor plan, and then depending on how you want to draw your walls, you can go through and pretty much put them in. So again, guys, I'm just saying that I'm just drawing very basic elements for the moment, just to show you some of the different parts and structures of Revit. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a few walls in. Now obviously there are lots of different parts of structural design that you need not only single brick walls, but if your wall is load bearing, it needs to be a double brick wall. There are certain places in the house, depending on location where you have load-bearing walls and when you don't have load-bearing walls. But because this is basically Year 10 graphics and not Year 12 engineering, we're not really worried about that at this point. We're just looking at designing and getting a lot better at using this program. So if we can go into our 3D and we can see that those walls have been drawn in. And at this point we might go and have a look at putting in some walls and some windows and some doors. But we might do that in our next tutorial because this one's getting a little bit long. So I'll see you for that next tutorial shortly.